Bow hunting black bears is a real kick. But the fact is that many bear hunts in eastern Canada can be conducted without any risk of seeing a bear.
Foot position is critical to making any shot. Position those feet early when anticipating a shot. If you're going to be moving your feet, be confident your platform will be absolutely quiet. Practice moving on that platform. Know where the outer edge is. Determine the animal's approach pattern and select the most likely shooting lane. Set up early for the shot. Don't wait until you're panicking.
He's right here. Praise God. And a bruiser. Had a heart attack. Wow. It's going to be easy to find.
Let me tell you, if you enjoy thrilling stuff, thrilling stuff to where your heart's beating and you can't breathe right, you need to come up and try some bear hunting. It is incredible. There were a couple times there where, and I've been next to lots of bears, and this bear just had me concerned. The way it was so spooky, you just see it slipping around. My heart was beating 100 miles an hour.
Wow, that's exciting. But did you see that arrow going to the target, doing the whirly kick the whole way there? Man, that arrow was not stable. What do we need to do to that to get the arrow stable, flying straight to the target cleanly? You know, that wobble made that arrow hit sideways. That takes away penetration. This is a serious issue, especially when you're shooting at a bear. So, let's talk about how we get this arrow stabilized. Now, that's a real broadhead there. That's for men. That makes a good model for what we're doing right now. Let's look at the back of the shaft here to see what it might take to steer this broadhead straight. Here's a makeshift vane. You think that's big enough? Maybe a little too big. Proportionally, that might be a little too big. So maybe we can scale that down. Here's another one. Not quite as big. This would mimic like a 4-inch vane on your hunting arrow. Is that enough to stabilize the broadhead? Or if you're going with the shorter but high profile vanes, is that enough to stabilize the broadhead? Well, if you're getting arrow flight like that bear hunter did, it's not doing the job. So we know when we're successful and when we're not. Now, the whole trick is to get enough air resistance created on the back of this shaft to prevent the front end from steering. So how do we do that? Well, we pick the right size vane. The vane has to be big enough, or the feather has to be big enough. Furthermore, to maximize the air resistance created by this vane that you put on the arrow, or this feather, we put it on with a helical curve wrapped around the shaft. Now, what does that do for you? That puts one side of this vane into the wind, creating air resistance. Think about that window fan you have at home. Are those blades straight, or are they turned at an angle so that they create air resistance when they turn around and push air forward? Well, here the arrow's moving forward, and with one side of the vane into the wind, that's going to turn the shaft, create stability on the back. Now, I have some other arrows here, samples. This is what you would like to have. Feathers on a helical curve around the shaft. This puts one side of the feather into the wind, creates air resistance. More air resistance on the back than what the blades of the broadhead have up front. This will stabilize the arrow. These are 5-inch feathers. I have 4-inch vanes here. Again, a helical curve, so that one side of the vane is into the wind, creating air resistance, controlling the flight of the arrow. Put the vanes on the back and put them in an angle. Here's a shaft. This could be better. These vanes could do a better job if they weren't straight down the shaft. They need turned at an angle on that shaft. Then they would create air resistance. The idea is to minimize air resistance on the front and maximize air resistance on the back to get that stable arrow flight all the way to the target. And that's really important when you're hunting bear. Remember that old saying, some days you get the bear and some days the bear gets you. Well, when you're out hunting bear, you want to be getting the bear.
Brought to you by Bear Archery and Whitetail University.